And we should be good now.
Okay. I'm waiting for it to go live. Okay, I see it.
Oh, I've been here for freaking 10 minutes and didn't even bring my beer over.
I forgot my beer. Dang gammit. I forgot my beer.
Yeah, if there's any beer people, I mean, I don't know. You know, they might be a little bit more highfalutin than us over here at Scarcasm. But this is some good shit right here. This is a new one from Sweetwater, where they had a collab with Broken Coast for a BC lager. It's got a very like orange, like heavy orange flavor, and I love it.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. You take it back down?
I just went back to our splash screen while we were having a little moment, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And I also, like, if you look at the splash screen, it said the live podcast every Sunday, so I like moved that down.
Okay.
So I was like, instead of editing out, I'm like, yeah, we're just gonna like move that off screen because we're not live on Sundays. We're live on Mondays, and it's not at 9. Like all that shit's wrong. It's not Sunday. It's not 9 p.m.
And I talked to Sam earlier. He sent me a text. But I didn't even think about asking him about the show. I completely wasn't thinking in that direction because we were talking about something completely off subject. So shout out to Sam.
Also, I hope he knows that like even if we're already started or whatnot, he can just jump in. I mean, it's always 8 o'clock on. I mean, he has the permissions in Discord just to jump in through the thing, without having to be let in.
Yeah. Motherfucker, we Jello. There's always room for Jello. All right, you ready?
Yeah. I bet the worst, like people say like drowning, I bet the worst in drowning would be drowning inside of like Jello.
Okay.
Like someone put a giant Jello mode on your head.
You watch too many horror movies.
Well, I was thinking more like D&D because the what you call it, the gelatinous cube is a motherfucker.
Okay. I don't know much about D&D, to be honest. It's not
But
anything
if
that
you,
I've ever.
but if you grasp that on in your head, that is a cube of Jello that wants to kill you. It's pretty
Uh-huh.
easy to kill you. Like, I mean, if you're seeing the blob, I mean, it's not that it's very hard to get away from.
It's. I mean, it sounds like it. That it would be that. It would be pretty difficult
Yeah.
to get away from. You know. I mean, I feel you there, but I don't think I've ever thought about it in that way. I did see someone who did a because I watched a video. You know, like you watch a video on Facebook and then they suggest a whole bunch of shit to you. So I watched a video on it was um people playing trumpet
Mm-hmm.
something. Um, and so like there was this one video where this person decided to put their trumpet into like different things. Put the trumpet bill into like some water and play into some jello, into some pudding. It's just different things. I don't know. It was just random as fuck. You know what I
Well, it's
mean?
kind of like those videos to where it's like, hey, like you know that like some of these guitar videos are like geared towards people who don't play guitar. You're like, hey, have you ever wondered what metal sounds like but without an amplifier? I was like, pretty much every guitarist that's ever guitared has heard metal without an amplifier when they're just hanging out in their bedroom. It's like not
Right.
something new.
Yeah. Have you heard that video, and it's Inner Sandman, but like it's like a funk band try to make a funk cover of Inner Sandman.
But that could work. Cause out of
Uh,
more the newer I mean, yeah, that song gets it's kind of memey in the fact that it's the guitar center riff that everybody plays, but it's very iconic riff for you know 90s Metallica. You know what I mean? I mean, it's
yeah, it's a band called the North 41.
hmm.
The North 41. I just saw like a preview of it on on Facebook, and then I went to find the rest of it, and I watched the whole song on YouTube. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
That's
I thought it would be like one of those like maybe this doesn't quite work, but nope, actually turned out all right. So in one of the guys that I watch, um, I can't pronounce his last name. His name is Michael Palmasano. Palmasano. He is a guitar teacher, and he watches these videos of people playing instruments, and he just kind of
I
plays
I
along.
think I've seen his stuff um uh sent to me. Uh, Algae rhythm,
Yeah. I've seen him react to that video also. But like I think it's really cool because like he does these videos, and like of course like he has a guitar in his hand, and like he's trying to recreate what he's hearing and he's watching and stuff, and sometimes he'll try to play along. And sometimes it seems like he's off, but it's like okay, that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
What's
just he
weird
seemed.
is it kind of brings up a thing is like these like reaction videos to where I've seen people who are like this guy's hearing Rage Against the Machine for the first time ever, and I was just thinking like I know why it is, not like oh man, have you been living under a rock? But no, it's not that. It's that radio and stuff is not really a thing anymore, and people aren't going to a record store where people are playing music out loud in the store. So everybody has all the music all the time at like pretty much every album they can ever look for. They have access to it, but
Right.
they don't have someone just playing it for them. So if you don't know who Wesley Willis is, even if it's on. Because I was like, man, Spotify's got everything. It's got fucking Wesley Willis. Jesus Christ. But
you know
no.
what? You didn't really listen to you didn't really listen to the Dream Team, did you?
I've heard some episodes, but not like
Okay,
really listen.
Jay from the Dream Team loves Wesley Willis. That is the only reason why I know who you're talking about, and that is some weird shit.
I re I wouldn't say that Wesley Willis is good. I respect Wesley Willis for just doing his thing. You know what I mean? He don't give a fuck. But anyway, like that's just something I come up with that like that's some like out there like really outsider music and it's on Spotify. But if you're not looking for it, Spotify's not just gonna like hand deliver Wesley Willis to you. You know?
Exactly. I so it's really like so yeah that was a weird episode because like I think it started off pretty tame. It started off pretty tame with Rock and Roll McDonald's.
Yeah.
Then it started going to all of these other places. And I was like, yeah, I was cool at Rock and Roll McDonald's. I don't know what's happening for the rest of this. I have no idea. This seems all just freaking weird. So, yeah.
But if you hear Rock and Roll McDonald's enough, after a while, you're like, actually, this is a good tune, you know, because it's catchy, you know.
It's not bad. It's not bad. And I've definitely heard worse. Like I've heard Ice JJ Fish, like, and I used to love Ice JJ Fish videos. Ice JJ Fish is like the worst, and like I know he is the best at being the worst. And like Ice JJ Fish, some of his songs are just like, what the fuck is this? And like he got the views and all this kind of stuff. He was more of a thing before.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to really dig Ice JJ Fish. Like one of my homegirls, Tamika, she used to love that dude. It was one of those things where it was like a long running chat, like how we used to have and like how we kind of have now in Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was one of those, and she would just we would just post Ice JJ Fish videos when he came out with something new.
Mm-hmm.
As it's like it's weird because like you have these long running chats sometimes with people and you just kind of fall out. Like the chats just kind of go away after a while, except for a couple, like the chats with us and then the chats with the rest of the guys. Those are the two. Those are the only two discords that I do not have muted. Everybody else is muted.
Right.
And everyone else is muted. I had to mute Crucial Core because like you and Max be having like conversations about the show, and I'm just kind of like, why am I a part of this conversation?
Well, yeah. I always figured that that you would mute it, but like I'm not gonna like dump you out on it because I know every now and again I might have to tag you because I mute pretty much every. Don't have Scarcasm muted because well, anything that I'm like kind of like a part of, like I guess running, I don't mute it just so I can see stuff. But
what do you mean, kind of running? You run Scarcasm, the Discord.
right. But there's
yours.
there's some other things that I'm like kind of running, but
Okay.
versus running. But yeah, like but most things I will mute everything other than ats and well I'll keep everyone's at everyone unless it's getting like a lot. If I'm getting at everyone's a lot, then I'll have to mute those two. But
Hey, I just discovered something because I posted this feed onto our Facebook page,
mm-hmm.
the GGR Facebook page. Um, I'm thinking about killing that. I'm thinking about killing the website
Okay.
because we don't use the website. Like it just I pay for the domain every year, but like we never use the website. We always talk here in Discord. So like why am I paying every year for geeksgoneraw.com for what? Like you know what I mean? Like no one uses the website. Like no one. I don't even go to the website. I can't tell you the last time I've actually been to the website.
Right.
I think I might pay for it again. Now I missed my goal because you know the anniversary of the show came and gone. Um it was on the 17th, so it's been a few days. But I'm thinking about just killing the website. But there's this thing, this ad that I keep getting on Facebook. It's for like a podcast like website. Then they make a podcast website for you, and it's supposedly free. I'm just kind of like, okay, I could do something like that. I don't know. It's just weird because like
Well, I
like
mean,
no
this
one.
would be the anniversary show since the 17th was between shows. Between
Yes.
last. Yeah.
This is the anniversary show. So thank you for everyone who's checked us out thus far. We haven't officially started the show, but I guess this is a rolling start. This is Scarcasm. I am Scarfinger. That is Chase. We've been back. We've been in your ear holes for another year, man. I
Yeah.
think it's I think it's impressive because like a couple years ago I was really ready to go. I'm surprised I'm still here.
And I see that a lot. A lot of the old guard is gone, and then the ones that are still holding on, I hear in their voice to where they're like, "Yeah, I don't know. You know, what are we talking about? We just talking about the same things. Well, my baby burped today. You know."
Yeah, I start getting those feelings every year, especially during the summer. To just it you just kind of like you're just kind of like it's the summer. I don't necessarily want to be sitting here cooped up in my room like talking.
Well, yes.
Then August comes around and I'm just like fuck yeah, man. Like, I'm always like super excited to have people around for August. So and
It's
so we really
August.
have
August is like your spinach.
yeah, basically. Yeah, it's basically my spinach. Oh man, there's this meme, and you could tell I'm on Facebook a lot. I think Facebook is like the most important place on the internet for me. Because
Facebook loves to hear you say that.
it is it
You're
really
like
is like
Scarfinger is down with the metaverse.
yeah, the first thing I do typically is I log on to Facebook, because because I think my Twitter is a little bit weird, where like I follow a lot of people and a lot of people follow me, and I don't necessarily um, know who most of these people are. I don't know who a lot of them are. A lot of them follow because of the podcast in the past or something like that, or one of the other podcasts. Um, one of the like Return to Oswald and stuff like that. People follow because of that, but like half of these people, I have no idea who they are,
Well,
and
I've
I
did
did a
some
lot.
unfollows, so definitely on people where I see them post a lot, and I'm like, how do I know this guy? Do I know? Because some of it's through forums, like when I was like Dad's Hideout, and some of them I was like, okay, he's a Dad's Hideout guy. I won't unfollow him, you know. And then, or he's friends with. If I see like Matt and Anthony Alex and like and some of those, I know it's like someone maybe around the podcast. But if it's nobody that I follow and they're not following me, I'm like, that's probably one of these dudes who followed me and I followed them back, and then they unfollowed me when I followed them.
Hey, speaking of Anthony Alex, shout out to my man Anthony Alex, grandfather.
Yeah, man, I saw that too.
You know what I mean? That's my guy, and we haven't spoken in a while. But shout out to my man Anthony Alex, grandfather. That's fucking cool because, you know, I started podcasting. I mean, show didn't start to 2010, right?
Right, right.
But I've been podcasting since 2009, and like in 2010, that's when I really got to know most of the people that I know now, and most of the people that I talk to on a regular basis now. Um, so I've known this dude for since 2010, and when he talked about his daughter and stuff like that, and it's been 12 years. You know what I mean? It's been 12 years since I've known his daughter, who was a little girl at the time. I think it's really cool that like we got to the point to where you know like she's not a little girl anymore. She's now a mommy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like she's a mommy, and that's fucking cool as shit to me. Um, and then Pooh Bear, who was really small at the time of the show starting, because remember Pooh Bear was born in 2008. So like at the time the show started, she was barely talking. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and like she would walk up to the microphone a lot, and I'd be like, say hi to people. Pooh Bear, yeah, hi. Um, and now like Pooh Bear would be 14 next week.
Right.
It's crazy because like there was and like I said, I've been playing a lot of Division with my friend who I've known for a long time, since like
Well, when I joined you guys' party, it definitely felt like I went to a party, like an actual party of people where I knew one person and everybody else was like close friends to that one person. Now it's just like that
what.
dude.
Well, you jumped in. Well, see, here's the thing: when you jumped into that Division party, what was happening was the homie Build Maintenance, who I know from like Blue and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he used to show to the party chats that we used to have a long time ago. He had been playing the Division, and we were helping him help him finish um, he we were helping him finish New York.
Mm-hmm.
So like we were stuck in the shit at that time. Like so it's me, my friend, who like we still play Division damn near every day. In fact, we are supposed to be playing the Division as soon as this show is over. Because there's a goal that we are trying to attain. Now, then I sent you a message. I sent you a message last week.
Yeah.
I said we were playing, and I was playing. We were playing with somebody new, and he is somebody who had another dude like my friend Todd. His he had played the game, but since he wasn't playing with anybody, like he didn't know what he was doing. He was just kind of playing the game, and then it was just like, yeah, I'm bored with this, and stopped playing. Well, so I deleted another character, so now this is character number 8. Only give you 4 slots, so I got to keep deleting characters.
Yeah.
So we started over from the beginning. I hit you up and said, "Hey, we're playing the Division." You were like, "Yeah, that's cool," and then didn't show up.
Well, yeah, I was definitely down for it, but I fell asleep early, and then the next day I was like, damn, fucking Division.
Right. I really wish. I think what I need to do. Right. I think I need another Xbox profile just with the Division. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you
If
had
I'm
to pay. Oh, well, never mind. Nowadays, gold kind of goes through everybody.
everybody
Okay.
that's on the same box.
Man, it was so expensive back in. You like you did you play on the 360 and have a family that played?
I did
Man,
not. It was on. It
that
was
was
only really me.
$60 for me, $60 for Amber, and then, jeez,
It
you
was.
know
It was always only really me. So I never had that. I never had that issue.
that was $120 a year just for me and Amber to play Call of Duty.
That's, that's fucking crazy. No, I did this whole shit. If I was playing with somebody and they were at my house, I did the guest thing quite often.
Right,
Yeah, because you know me, I'm not really about that competitive shit. So like,
right.
so I can do the guest and play some team training or something that'll allow me to have a guest. Um, I play that more often than anything else. I haven't even played Halo in quite some time. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I
all
used to
the
be into the competitive, and but then I was like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I kind of miss it a little bit. But I was kind of like all right then, and I know that now that I've got older, I'm gonna be even more not good. you
Yeah,
know?
that's the reason why I stopped playing versus mode. Well, I mean that and the rampant racism on Xbox Live because all they had to do was just look at my avatar or hear me talk, and it was like then someone would call me the N word, and it just kind of ruined my experience. So I really just stopped playing versus mode. I would play co-op because like even if you think that um even if I play like the Killing Floor or something like that where we're all on the same team fighting against the monsters. Even if I say something and you call me the N-word, but I'm like, motherfucker, I'm your N-word today. Like we on the same team. I'm here to help you. So like, you know what I mean? So it felt a little co-op felt a little different than than versus mode.
And
Like
for the
I'm just
record, I've never called Scarfinger the N word because it sounded like you. I was like, no, that ain't me.
no. You've never. I've called you the N word quite often, because it's just a part. It's just a way that I talk. Um, I've tried several times to get away from it. I've tried replacing it with other words, and it just never works for very long. Never does. I don't know what it is about it. It's just a word that I use very, very often. And like trying not to use it at work is the absolute worst. I kind of, because only one person that is just a member of the office staff is another black person. All the rest of the office staff is, older white people.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I'm having a conversation with him specifically, yes, I say it, but I kind of say it under like hushed tones. Like, you know, word,
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with you? Like, that type of stuff. Like we say stuff like that to each other. But he's one of those people that he calls everybody a bitch. And I'm just kind of like, nope, we are not going to bitch each other, sir. We are going to stick to the N word. Um, that's one thing. That's like a line for me. That's a line for me. So I don't really like to. I don't call people bitches very often, especially not someone that I know that is someone that has access to call me a bitch back. That's not. It's just not something I do. I don't take being called a bitch very lightly at all.
Right, right.
Just a personal thing. Well, I want to say something. We have a new patron.
Oh yeah.
We have a new patron, and I don't know who this is. It's someone named Jimmy Beans. Shout out to Jimmy Beans. Jimmy Beans is a patron, and I think it's really dope that we have another patron. We have three, I think. Right?
I'd say if we get 10 patrons, we'll make a patron only Discord channel that we can, you know, kind of,
Yeah,
or
I mean,
something that we can physically do that, because there's not much that we can do with.
yeah. The worst part about having a Patreon is I set up the Patreon right when the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like right when the pandemic hit. So it just kind of fucked everything up. So yeah, it's one of those things to where as I wish that it was not as it wasn't as fucked up as it was because I was offering all kinds of shit. Um I was offering paintings and stuff like that because at the time I was painting a lot. Um as a part of the Patreon, but
I
it's
think
just
at
kind of
least
weird.
one August should be a a patron episode.
You think so?
Maybe. I mean, I'm just spitballing things of like, because you
Yeah,
don't
I
want
mean,
the patron just to be like, oh, you're donating. You want it to be like an investment that you're getting some extra shit, you know?
I think we should. I think you know what? I think it should. I think also like the patrons were supposed to be able to like actually like affect the show.
Uh-huh.
That was another thing that the patrons were supposed to be able to do. Like they could suggest things for us to actually talk about. They in like we because remember we were supposed to get back to like playing a game and watch a movie or something like that for
Well,
the
I think
show.
with there are some things you can do with like Discord Nitro for patrons, like patron only like emotes and like emojis and stuff like that. And I'd have to research it, but Discord Nitro itself is $9 a month, or like $100 a year. That seems to come out cheaper, but still.
But technically, we only have two patrons at this point.
Right. But I'm always just trying to think, try to keep
Yeah,
this thing going.
we have two patrons at this point, so I can't, because something happened, and I'm not trying to put you out there, dog, but something happened with Ron Block's card a while back, and I don't think he ever got back in. So he told me about it, and then I think he just forgot. And I ain't really pushed it because I've been very, very bad about this shit.
Yeah,
And
that's the whole thing to make us bad about like bad about making money and shit is because we feel icky pushing that shit. You know what I mean?
yeah, I do. I really do because like the hosting for the show, cost me $20 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and it's $20 on the first. Every first, I get charged $20. At first, it was like okay, that my first milestone was I want to cover that.
Yeah.
I want to cover that. But the two patrons that we had never quite got there.
Right.
And then once Patreon takes their cut, basically I got just short of $13 once they took their cut.
Right. Right.
So then so we never quite made it there. Um, and then like if because eventually I wanted to do like a vape box, but that was only like once we crossed 100. No, once we crossed 80, because the 20 for the hosting, and then I was gonna do the vape box because the vape box is like 60 a month. And like they send us like juice and they send us devices and they send us tanks and stuff like that. But then that all went out the way when you stopped vaping.
Right. Well, I mean, if you want to do something like that, that's like all about trying out different stuff, I'd do it and just be zero. I just don't want to get hooked on nicotine.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm back up to sixes now.
Damn, man.
Threes were just not cutting it. Um
That shit
and
don't make you
like
nauseous at all anymore.
nope. I take to this shit like a champ now. It's weird because like I how do you say? It started to get, with me living by myself and not having as much money as I used to have, it's gotten increasingly difficult to try to order online to
Mm-hmm.
make it worth it because like the shipping for the website is like $22 now. After they made all of those regulations that stopped a lot of places from wanting to put vape stuff in the mail. Thanks, Trump. And don't try to blame Biden for this shit. It was Trump. Trump put the shit in the bill where he gave everybody those stimulus monies. He stuck that shit in the back of the stimulus money about like the post office and stuff like that. Not being able to ship out vape stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely Trump. Um, but like yeah, so
That's
like
why I
that
think
happened.
like I'm like, how are we going to ever get on board to this the marijuana stuff if we can't even get on board with vape?
Right. Because like it's really weird because like now I buy in the store. And like buying in the store is incredibly expensive compared to what I was buying online. Like this bottle right here, Cloud Nerds.
Mm-hmm.
This bottle right now of Cloud Nerds. I spent $26 for this bottle. The website that I order from, 10.99. Then there's a $22 shipping charge,
Uh,
which makes the shit not worth it. Unless
right.
unless I had enough money to place a large order.
Cause I know they weren't the best vape for flavor, but like for necessity, Jesus Christ, I couldn't. You couldn't go wrong with the dollar e juice. I'd get like 400 and something milligrams of juice for like $20. I'm like, dude, you
Yeah,
know how much juice I'd get for $20 in a vape shop? Maybe
I think
60.
I think I got spoiled, right? Like I got spoiled in the juice that I was the juice that I was buying once I went to this other website and I started buying actual name brand juices. It made it hard to go back to dollar because just dollar just don't taste like nothing.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? It made it hard. And actually, my coworker, a few months ago, ordered a bunch from Dollar, and then she said it was hitting her throat wrong. It was like making her throat hurt when she vaped. So she gave me all of the stuff that she ordered,
I
and I only had issues with one of them.
Yeah,
I only had
me getting into dollar e juice was probably the one of the stakes into the coffin to be like, man, I don't think I'm into this anymore because I would settle for subpar juice just to have the nicotine hit.
I've been there too.
Yeah.
I've definitely been there too. But like now I go to the store and like here's the thing about the store. The stores and I talked to the guy at the store. They put a new place around the corner from where I work. He said he and they when they first opened the store, the juice was like really cheap. I was just, oh shit, it's like really cheap. All right, cool. And then all of a sudden, all of the prices went up, and he was like, yeah, those are kind of introductory prices, and that's before he knew exactly what he was doing because Virginia has a nicotine tax.
Yeah.
It is, and it's like a certain amount of uh, is like a certain amount per milliliter as long as it has nicotine in it.
Hmm.
So like where this bottle of juice would probably cost me like $5 to $6 less because of that tax. So they had to raise their prices to cover the tax. So it's like really, it's just really weird. And like we're talking about vape stuff, we probably lost a whole bunch of people. Because as of right now, it's being the only vapor out of the two of us. Yeah. So how you been, bro?
Been good. Just we did we do a podcast since? Oh no, well that was last weekend, so I don't think we did. We went to Hibachi, which was the first time my kids have. Well, I don't know about Aiden. I think he might have went with my parents one time. But Riley loved that shit, except for the fire. He didn't quite care for the fire.
Right?
He's just like, back up, yo. This shit.
Oh no. It's like I mean, there's food there, so I'm excited. Whoa, fire!
But all the drumming and stuff and the tricks and stuff, he loved all of that stuff. But the food was great. I mean, and they give you so fucking much food. Me and Amber ordered shrimp to share, and then we still got chicken because he made too much chicken. He was like, "You want some?" So we got chicken and shrimp for the price of shrimp. So,
Want some of this chicken? I might eat too much. I eat too much. I need to get rid of some of this here chicken.
but yeah, that was
Yeah.
good, and they had fun, and but but yeah, I mean, other than working, that was the most exciting thing I did the whole week.
Yeah, I don't think I've done very much in the way of exciting. I've hung out with my ex a couple of times in the past like week or so, and that's been cool. Just kind of hanging out, not really doing anything other than just kind of hanging out. And it's different because previously the only time we would really hang out is when I went over there to wash clothes. But like, you know, we went out to eat and just had a good time. Like I was messing with the waitress. Um, and like we were ordering our drinks and she was just like, I want a Pepsi. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, I want a Diet Pepsi. And then she was like, all right, so Pepsi, Diet Pepsi. She was like trying to remember it because she didn't write it down. So she walked away, and then she came back, and then she was unsure of which one was which, and she was just kind of like, I think it's this one. You want to try it? I was just like, but I don't want to die if I drink the wrong one. Like it's like I was making it seem like if I drank Pepsi, regular Pepsi, it was like some sort of poison to me. Like even if I tried it, which is not the truth at all. But like she had this look on her face. She had this look on her face like, oh no. Am I gonna hurt somebody? And I'm like, no, I'm just fucking with you, like you know, what I mean, like that type of stuff. And we just had a good old time. And then the manager of the place, like you know, me going out and being able to pay is like fucking amazing at this point because like being able to like go out to eat and like actually pay myself without any help is like impressive at this point. But the manager almost got me too because the food was really good. And when I checked out, he was like, "All right, see you tomorrow." Like the dude from Cookout in Norfolk. When I worked in Norfolk for a little bit, and the dude in Cookout in Norfolk, he would say that shit to me, like, "All right, see you tomorrow." I'm just like, "You know what? You just might." Every time he got me, he put that thought in my head about I would be back tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
You know, with Cookout, like there's like so many things that you can buy. It's
Yeah.
like so you can go back the next day and then switch it up and get something completely different than you got today. But yeah, that dude fucked me up. The one in Norfolk, he fucked me up pretty bad because I'm just like, damn, am I gonna come back tomorrow? I think I might. You know what I mean? Like I might get some hot dogs with some bacon on it this time. Have you ever had a hot dog with bacon?
Uh-uh.
Bruh, let me tell you, I ordered for the first time. Um, so I went to Five Guys Burgers and Fries. I have to say Five Guys Burgers and Fries because if you speak about Five Guys and then you're talking about their hot dogs and stuff like that, it sounds really gay. Um, it really does. Like talking about Five Guys and not saying Five Guys Burgers and Fries, it just sounds weird. Like you know, like you just say like you know, like anything that you say after you say Five Guys, you talk about their food and stuff like that, and it sounds overtly sexual. But you're talking about Five Guys and their meat, so like sounds a little weird when you have that conversation. Um, Not that I'm against anything, but it's just weird. It's just weird for me to say. So Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Um, I went there one time and I got a hot dog, and it was like, "You want to put bacon on it?" I was like, "What do you mean put bacon on a hot dog?" Like, no, you should try this. I'm like, I'm already spending a whole bunch of money because every time you go to Five Guys Burgers and Fries, it's like spending like you always spend way more money than you expected to spend today.
Right. On
Um,
burgers and fries.
yes, and so I was just like, you know what? Fine, put the bacon on there. So they put the bacon on there, and what they do is they make the bacon, and then you know with the hot dog and the hot dog bun, they put the bacon down the side.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck, was that shit good?
Mm-hmm.
It was. I was like, I was very surprised. So like sometimes when I go to Cookout, I get hot dogs, and I get like chili cheese dogs with bacon. Man, that is the move.
Yeah, I
One
know.
day,
I normally don't get the cheese like the. I mean, I've got a chili cheese dog before. You know what I mean? And I'm not against chili cheese dog, but to me, like when someone's like, "Oh, I want a chili dog," is chili dog different than a hot dog? But for me, like chili just comes on a hot dog. It's just like all hot dogs have chili on it because I'm definitely a mustard onion chili type of guy, and but but yeah. So, but chili, I'm more down with the chili cheese fries than chili cheese dog. I think.
I think. Well, I have love hate issues with cheese.
Well, I
So that
mean, well, we
if
both do.
in fact, like man, I was fucked up. I got this pizza right. I got this Red Baron, and they had some new Red Barons, right? And, you know, Red Barons is like the bottom, like the lowest kind of pizza that you make at home that you should fucking go, right? Like, cause you don't really want to go to like the Tostinos or shit like that. You don't really want to go that far down. So like Red Baron is like the line. Everything below
I
Red
go
Baron.
with the Totinos, man.
I don't fuck with no Tostino. With Totinos. No, fuck that shit. I can't do it no more. I just can't. Like I can't lower myself to eat a Totinos. But but Red Baron had came up with these new ones, and it's like a thicker crust, and it's like loaded with like pepperoni. So you got like a bunch of pepperoni, right? That you, of course, that you have to fucking rearrange when you take it out of the thing. But also, it has chopped up pepperoni bits. It's just a bunch of that too. And when they say this bitch is loaded, it's fucking loaded. And like I made some yesterday in between rounds of division because I played division twice yesterday. I played for a bit, I stopped, and then I played some more with a different character. Um, and so like I had some, and man, it was great. It's like thick, and the crust kind of comes up on the ends. It's weird because it's a fucking Red Baron, and you're just like Red Barons are supposed to have this.
Right, right,
It was
right.
it was great. Um, and then all of a sudden, I had the bubbles like a motherfucker, really stinking bad, and like I kept having to leave. I kept having to leave the division in order to go to the bathroom. Every time we stopped, it was like, up, go to the bathroom. Um, and then like my stomach was hurting so bad by the end of the day, and then my stomach was hurting really bad this morning. I was late for work because like I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it on time because I keep having to stop and go to the bathroom because it's still bothering me. And I didn't go to bed till like 4:30 because I was getting up and down going to the bathroom. It was like the worst possible experience. So and I took the lactate and all of that other stuff that I normally do, and like just that shit is a that shit is a guesstimate like a motherfucker. Like you think that you're gonna be safe. You're just like, hey, I think I'm gonna be safe here, and then sometimes the shit is just like we work just fine, and other times it was like, nope, we don't work at
Well,
all.
sometimes it's just too much cheese. I mean, if it's like stringy, globby, like I think cheddar's the worst. Like just straight up, just like cheddar cheese. You know,
Yeah, I think so because I made a cheeseburger pie. It was a week ago, 2 weeks maybe. I made a cheeseburger pie, and I had some cheddar given to me.
hmm
Some chopped up, you know, and yeah, I had some issues that day too. I don't know. It could be the cheddar, but like this one, there was no cheddar on this pizza, and I was fucked up. So
it's. I mean, it's getting a little bit TMI, but like I think because sometimes I'm like, am I lactose? Because I know that like maybe it comes with the territory, but I think maybe lactose intolerance is like a side effect of having like IBS. Because sometimes I'll just have a burger and be like, I don't want no cheese, and I still get a twerp stomach. So I'm like, so maybe it's just having fried shit on top of cheese. It's just like,
you know what? I'll tell you something. Tell you something. I get the same feelings from almond milk that I do when I drink regular milk. Almond milk or cashew milk and stuff like that.
huh?
It hits me the same. Like maybe my body is just like, yeah, well, you said it was milk. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Looks
I
like
don't
milk,
know.
tastes like milk, poops like milk. That's how we do.
Right. Look, look, I don't know what you're talking about. It look like fucking milk to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what your body is telling you. Look like fucking milk to me. I don't know about this here. Um, but yeah, that. So, yeah, are we done talking about girl stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Um, we let's start it with video games because I've only played the division. I have not played anything else. I'm still playing like late nights and playing almost every day with my friend. Um, and you didn't actually join us when you were going to join us. So I ended up starting a new character, and I'm like a 12 now.
Okay.
So I don't know if I got to delete another character to start over. I don't know.
Well, I should look
'Cause-
at what my character is, because
right.
I know I played with you guys, and maybe you guys can get to where, if I'm like a 20 or something, when you guys hit a, because I know the building that we went in with Sam. Remember that building to where like the enemies were fucked, and there was like it said there was an enemy and something was wrong. I think that's where we stopped because we never got back on after that. I don't think
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly where we were at that time,
Actually, I could probably
but
look at the stream and see what level I am.
that's possible. But don't worry about it. It'll be all right. Um, I really want to start a new. I really want to start a new profile. So that I have 4 new characters that have to. I don't have to keep deleting stuff. I could just play with 4 more people.
Right.
Yeah, I like that idea. Um, because I really like the game. Like I said, this is my 8th time playing through it. One of the times I did skip directly to New York, so that's a kind of like 7.5 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that. Oh, my Pooh Bear. I was playing Division, and then it said my Pooh Bear was online, and I was like, "What is Pooh Bear doing online?" Because she rarely touches her Xbox. She was playing Andromeda, and I was a proud father. She just decided to play Andromeda on her own. Apparently, one of her YouTube follows, is playing through Mass Effect the first time. So she was just like, I've already played Mass Effect. And then she was like, I don't really want to play the trilogy, so let me get on this Andromeda. Yeah, she's young and she doesn't feel the same about Andromeda as the rest of us do. Well,
Right.
actually,
Right.
I wouldn't say the rest of us because I don't hate Andromeda. I actually quite like Andromeda.
Yeah.
I don't think it's on the same level as the rest of the trilogy, but it's still a good game to me.
But that's kind of thing like with music or anything like how is anything supposed to like be as good as your masterpiece? I mean, it's not. It's never going to be. That doesn't mean you should just stop making art or whatever, but
Right.
don't try to top the other thing because it's always going to be a disappointment. Just make shit.
Yeah, Michael Jackson kept making music after Thriller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though Off the Wall is the better album, Off the Wall is Michael Jackson's best album, but we don't have that conversation until we get old enough to completely understand how fucking
I
awesome
thought
Off
his
the Wall.
story was his best album.
Oh fuck no. History. The
I
weird
was
thing about
just
history,
I was just
the
fucking
weird
with
thing,
you, man.
the weird thing about history is it was a double album, and like one of the albums was the actual like it was kind of like a greatest hits.
Uh-huh.
Right? Wasn't that the one that was just kind of greatest hits, and then the other one was the actual album?
I think so. I just
I'm
noticed
gonna
the
look
one
that
where
up.
he's on the cover with like the bullets and shit, like as a statue.
Yeah, I see. The crazy thing is, we were talking about after the G Funk halftime show, which I mean, I didn't hear much hate for, but apparently some people did. I loved it. I loved it. I mean, they did what they could do for a halftime show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the time that they had allotted, they did what they did. But after that, people were talking about the greatest halftime shows of all time, and it was just like you can't not say Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson popped out of the fucking ground and stood there for 2 minutes, standing still, and people lost their shit. He just stood there for two
Wait.
fucking minutes. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that is the greatest performance of a halftime show. Like, he stood there for 2 fucking minutes and didn't move. He popped out of the fucking ground and he just stood there. And people lost their shit. Grown ass men passed out. You know what I mean? Like that's some different shit. You know what I mean? When you have grown ass men passing out from this shit, that's how you know you on a different level. So you're on a much different level when you can just when you don't even have to perform nothing and people lose their shit. Speaking of losing shit, lose yourself was the biggest applause. No one is surprised by that. Did you watch the G Funk halftime show?
Uh-uh.
Oh man, was good. The only thing the only thing that I thought it was weird and kind of drug the show down a little bit. They let Mary J. Blige do the hype song, and then they let her do the other song. They let her do the song with like the she did No More Drama, which is kind of like a kind of empowerment anthem for her, but don't hit like that. You know what I mean? And I just thought it was weird. And then 50 Cent did the whole thing from the In the Club video where he was hanging upside down eventually. And apparently, 50 Cent has gained a little bit of weight since In the Club. And he probably shouldn't have been hanging upside down like that.
Mhm.
Um,
He's not ripped anymore like he was in Blood on the
I
Sand.
mean, he's still a big dude, but like he seems a little bit more chunky. You know what I mean? Like he seems a little chunky. So I mean, but
He
I mean,
I mean, you notice when like older guys get like work out, and it's like they're like ripped, but they're still fat. Kind of
mhm.
weird. I
Yes, it
don't,
is.
but
Yeah, this it's weird, but like it'll be all right.
yeah.
So yeah, so I lost my train of thought.
Well, we were
I've
talking
I've
about games, but
yeah, I've only played the division, so I have nothing more to say. I did someone tried to convince me to play Destiny, but I was just like I don't want to play Destiny because I'm not putting any money into Destiny. And I don't know what I'm gonna be able to do now that I don't have the Game Pass stuff anymore.
yeah. Well, I think you played all the campaigns and stuff from the past stuff.
I,
So
I
if
did
you
not
own,
finish.
you
I did
didn't.
not finish the one with the stasis.
Oh well, that one's still there. So, but
But remember, I don't have it anymore because I got it
Game Pass,
through Game Pass, so I don't have it anymore.
right? But really, like if you like, I want to play Destiny, you could like throw $40 down and get the new thing and just play that and be totally fine, and you don't even need the older stuff. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but if I'm gonna play, I'm gonna want as much content as I can get. Blue said there was so much hate on 50. Yeah, it was weird. Um, I mean I get it, but like he seemed a little chunky, and he had on that little 50 Cent tank top that he used to wear, that a lot of hood dudes used to wear. It's the weird tank top with the wide lines. They kind of it was a tank top, but it kind of looked a little bit like a bulletproof vest because he used to wear bulletproof vests everywhere.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so like he had on one of those, and he probably shouldn't have had that on. I would say that's the only misstep to me. Like him hanging upside down, that's cool as long as you can take it, but I wouldn't be trying to perform in the club upside down. It seemed like a terrible idea.
right.
Other than that, I'm not hating on him gaining weight or anything like that because that dude has enough money to crush me with his wallet.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Destiny. People are like, "Oh, I don't know if I can catch up." Everything kind of resets, and you do fine. Like as it's really in your head that there's all this stuff that I haven't done. Like you're not starting back in 2014 and having to catch up to 2021. That's not how it is. Because even so, you're gonna make a character. I don't. They may raise the lowest. There's a cap of the lowest.
Yeah, because when I started, it was like 1170 or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, like you make a new character, you're gonna automatically be. You can't be lower than that because there's no gear that's lower than that. But
There's no content to support the lower level
right.
because they're deleting content, which I think is kind of foul. I think they're
Yeah, I
deleting.
don't like that either. I was like very on the verge of like fuck this shit. I'm not gonna play anymore. But it's winding down, and if I've been playing since 2014 off and on, it's not. I'm not a Destiny tryhard to where I'm like have millions of hours in Destiny. No, I'm definitely been off and on Destiny. But I've definitely played every content that's come out, and then like a normal person, played other things.
You actually bought the new content, right?
Yeah, but I waited until it was like almost coming out. So it's coming out. Well, it'll be out already when this is live. I mean, like as a podcast format. As of right now, it's coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah. So I was like, well, if it's winding down and it's almost over, it'd be kind of like watching a long movie and be like in the last 15 minutes, being like, yeah, I'm done with this movie. It's like, dude, you've already watched 2 hours. Might as well watch the last 15 minutes.
I watched a 3 hour Horizon Zero Dawn recap because I'm never going to actually play that game. You know?
Yeah.
I'm never going to play that game. So I watched a 3 hour Horizon Zero Dawn recap, and that game seems like it was fucking fantastic. But it's not a game that I would. It's not a game that I really want to play. You know what I mean?
Well, it
Like
seems like you can do stealth, but I think you can also do like live action, like going loud, but it makes it harder.
I did play it. I played the first one.
Yeah.
I played for like a couple of hours, and then I put it down, and then I just never went back.
Uh-huh.
So I have played the game before. And my trophies show that I have actually touched the game. I don't know about what happened after that. I just kind of lost interest, or like I stopped playing, and then I just never really thought about it again. But I've been watching these YouTube videos where people are just kind of recapping what happened. That story is fucking dense, bro. There's like so much lore and all of this kind of crazy stuff that's happening in that world. And it was just like, I really wish I gave a fuck about actually playing the game. I really wish that I gave a fuck about actually playing the game because the Forbidden West just came out, and like someone did a video of the ending, so I just watched that because I know I'm never gonna play the game. And my friend, my homeboy, got fucked over with Sony and their deceptive practices. My friend got fucked over. Do you know about this?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so PS5 games are $70.
Uh-huh.
Right? Well, Horizon, if you went past the top thing, if you got the PS4 version or $10 less, your upgrade to the 5 was free.
Yeah.
So basically, if you buy the 5 version, you're fucking yourself out of $10. Now, it's only $10, let's be honest. But the idea of Sony not telling you that is deceptive as fuck. And the problem that I have is the deception, not the fact that it's $10. Because like $10 ain't gonna make or break most people. But like you're
Can you
still
buy the PS4 version on the PS5?
yes. You just have to go underneath the section because they have everything up top. And then you have to go to like additional versions and then buy the PS4 version and then do the upgrade. So, but yeah, their practice of charging people an extra $10 when they didn't need to because no one needed to buy the PS5 version. You know what I mean? No one needs to buy the PS5 version if you buy the PS4 version and get the auto update. See, this is why I'm glad that Microsoft did the smart delivery shit up front. They tell you right up front what games you can upgrade with no issues. All right, this is what we got. You have smart delivery. Once you get a series, whichever one, you're gonna be able to play the updated version of this game. It's fucking great. It's the it's the better way to do this. It's a much better way to do this. Be transparent from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever wanted from Sony. Like Sony is so shitty to me. And like I've never, I'm gonna jinx myself, so let me knock on some wood. I've never had a Sony product that didn't break on me. The only one that's left is my PS4. I said the same thing about my PS3 until that shit broke. I've never had a Sony product that didn't break on me. So I don't dig Sony as a company. I don't have anything against the PlayStation. It's just not my favorite place to play. Because, you know, I'm more social than my PS5, I mean my PlayStation friends allow. A lot of them are playing single player games and like don't necessarily want to have a conversation with you while you're playing a single player game. So
Right, right, right.
I just kind of leave you alone when I'm on my PlayStation because generally I'm playing something like uh, NBA Live or something like that where I'm pretty much playing by myself because I don't have anybody that plays that game. And then I turned off my PlayStation Plus, so I can't play a game with you anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just not a PlayStation person. I'm sorry. I have a PlayStation, and I'm about to steal my hard drive that I have attached to my PlayStation 4 and put it on my Series S. Because you can only play like older stuff and everything that's not Xbox enhanced off of the hard drive. You can still do that. A lot of people think that you need the enhanced storage that costs way too much for the 1 terabyte is like 220 for a 1 terabyte little card that plugs into your Xbox, which is like fuck, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Um, um, but what you can do if you can move it instead of having to re-download it, and this is something for people that have data caps like Blue. You can download it to your ass, and then when you're done with it for a while, you can move it to the hard drive. You can't play it off of the hard drive, but you can copy it back to your main drive. You can copy it back to your main drive and actually to be able to play it from there
Without using your data,
without
right?
yeah, without using your data. You're just moving it back and forth between the hard drives instead of having to download it again.
Cool.
So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna move some of my stuff that's not definitely not uh, S in a series enhanced to um, to the hard drive.
Right, right.
That'll be, hey, can you filibuster for a minute?
Sure. But yeah. Um yeah, I've been playing some things, but just trying to finish some on the backlog. But with me, I have not played a lot of my backlog. Just kind of like been playing whatever the fuck I want to, which ends up technically being things on the backlog. But the the things that I was playing before, like I haven't touched them since like I don't know, fucking Thanksgiving. But getting some new stuff, and like I said before, finished Guardians of the Galaxy. But now started the Crisis 3, which is an older game, and I said before when I was wanting to build a computer like in 2013 or so, I wanted to get something and like have my benchmark of what I wanted to build be something I'm gonna play Crysis 3, like whatever can run Crysis 3 at ultra settings. And I had Crysis 3 for so long, and I played it a little bit on the Xbox 360, but not on the computer. So I booted it up, and man, the game from 2013, man, that game is so fucking gorgeous at ultra settings on like 120 frames per second. But
Speaking of Crytek, I watched a video on the Crytek makes Crysis, right?
yeah.
Make all the cries,
Yeah.
the Far Cries and shit like that.
Well, they made the first Far Cry.
Oh yeah, and then it went to Ubi, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I watched a video on what happened with Rise Son of Rome. I never actually played Rise Son of Rome. It was a Xbox One launch title, and I know a lot of people spoke highly of it. They said most people said it was short, but it was a cool little game.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize what really went into the development of that game. That was supposed to be a Kinect game, but it was like you had to do like a lot. Like to move in that game, you basically had to like run in place and you're like fighting, but you're like actually like fighting and like headbutting people like through the Kinect, and you're like doing all this, and it was just too much work. So they was just like, yeah, we're gonna put all this shit on a controller. We're gonna put all this shit on a controller. I don't think the Kinect thing is gonna work for us. But yeah, that started off as a Kinect game, and I just thought that was cool. And that game still, to this day, that game still looks fantastic.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing with their games. They always look great. Like the first Crisis was just kind of a tech demo-ish, and then there wasn't really much to it of gameplay. I mean, it had gameplay, but it's not like a great game that's like something to write home about. But it's just like a beautiful game. You know what I mean? And the same with the first Far Cry. Like, it was like just a sandbox. You know what I mean? But I think Crisis 2, I really enjoyed that campaign. That's when they started to really get their stride of campaigns. Well, I mean, I haven't finished Crisis 3, but I really enjoyed Crisis 2. In Crisis 2, I booted that up like some years ago, and that still looked great, at least in 2019. You know what I mean? I'm sure it still looks great now. But they have a new one called like Hunting Grounds or something. Hunt Shadows or something like that. Hunt something. And
Don't get me wrong, I don't know what you're talking about.
But it's one of those games to where it's like there's real people and there's also NPCs. You're trying to hunt like beasts in the swamp, but there's also other hunters that are trying to do the same thing and they'll kill you. So I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But I heard it's like actually really fun if you have a group of friends or whatnot to play it. But I don't have that. So yeah. But I did finish Life is Strange True Colors.
How'd that go? I do have a video set in my watch later where it was everything right with or everything wrong with. I think it's everything great about that game. Because I watched the first game. I watched my daughter play it.
Uh-huh.
So like there was no reason for me to ever want to play the game. It was just like kind of like evolution of Telltale.
Yeah. I enjoyed it overall, and like I think I don't really want to say anything bad about it because everything that was happening, I was like, man, this is fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy this town or whatnot. But there's something about like I know that there was a darker undertone of like people lying and stuff, but even on top of that, it just seemed unrealistic how like together the town was. Just think of like a town like Mayberry to where everybody knew each other and everybody was cool, but Mayberry was like in like 2021 and they were like totally cool about having a weed dispensary and and totally like gay friendly and like all this stuff, and like all the shops were closed down so you can have a LARP in the middle of the town.
What? LARP?
Yeah, and I'm like, this is totally unrealistic. There's going to be people that are like, this is fucking stupid. I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. I want to go home. You know what I mean? So there was some of that where I was like, this isn't really realistic. But then it does do a thing to where like, oh, this is a perfect town.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like it's one thing to be a weed friendly town
Yeah,
these days because you still have weed detractors. There's another thing to be gay friendly these days because there's always going to be dissenters. There's always going to be people who are not about that life.
yeah.
But LARP friendly, that's where I draw the fucking line, buddy. That
Yeah.
is the name. That is the now. I lately I've been fucking up the show title, and I keep forgetting, and then I throw a show title on like after the fact. So I have to remember that I need to get the show title while I'm in the show. So LARP friendly is it right now.
but yeah, so yes, there's like lying going on, and it's not as great as it goes along. But I think what they were presenting as the perfect town was still too perfect to like pull off, even for lying motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like how I feel about kind of is I mean I feel the opposite about like Tyler Perry stuff,
Uh huh.
right? Tyler Perry stuff is usually a like family or like members of a family. And like this small group of people seems to have like all of the problems in the world. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just this small group of people seem so fucked up, and they all having all of these problems. And of course, most of the shit gets solved by the time whatever movie or play that you're watching
And
gets
normally
done.
it gets solved because they all went to church.
Yes, yes. Or they met light skinned people. They met light skinned people. Light skinned people make everything better in Tyler Perry stuff. Um,
Yeah, I saw an interview with Spike Lee, and he did. Well, he was not feeling the Tyler Perry movies.
no, no, he's not. I believe those two have had a conversation since.
Oh, okay.
So I believe they have had a conversation since. But like, yeah. So, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But I just like I said, I watch the stuff on YouTube. I don't actually play those games.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to ruin my streak because I watched the first game. I watched my daughter play the first game, but I just kind of helped her. And I just kind of let it be. So I just figured I would continue my streak, not playing those games but watching them.
That's a weird that's a weird streak to try to be like, yay me, I did something. I by doing not doing something.
Bro, I watched so much YouTube, it's ridiculous. Watched a 3 hour Horizon Zero Dawn retrospective. Like, let's be honest here.
Right, right,
I'm
right.
I'm I'm, I'm deep in the shit right now. Like, you know what I mean? I got 1,000 yard stare when it comes to this.
But
We,
but yeah, I started Crisis 3 after the Life is Strange because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to play next, and
mhm.
I was like, I think I'm gonna go back a little bit further back and play Crisis. And when I booted it up, I was like, dude, this game could have like released this year. Like normally, I feel like I'm be like, oh man, this is fun, but I can definitely see it aging. But man, that game looks like a 2021 game. Like it looks good.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then you got a new video card, right?
Yeah, yeah. I kind of did the whole blue thing because because remember he said, I had to settle with this better one or whatever. You say settle, but it was kind of I was looking for basically the same thing where I was looking for a 6700, and I settled for a 6800 because they didn't have 6700s, and I didn't want a 6600, which was basically kind of like what I already had. You know what I mean? It was the 6600 was a little bit better, but it wasn't the merit of buying something new. But
Yeah.
so yeah, this is definitely an upgrade. Like holy shit, I'm getting all the frames. So, oh, speaking of that, like, I mean, I've said on the podcast before that I'm not really a I mean, I'm down with like really good graphics. Like when I was talking about Crisis, like I'm like, yeah, man, it looks good. Like I'm not gonna like, yeah, fuck good graphics. I only play pixel art. I'm not gonna be that guy. But I'm also definitely more online.
I'm definitely that guy.
You're definitely one that's gonna pick pixel art over good graphics.
No, I'm the opposite way. I'm saying fuck pixel art.
Yeah, but but yeah, I'm right. But I'm definitely more along the lines of frame rate over graphical, right? Because I want my gameplay to be smoother rather than my picture to be prettier. But that tested me with this new card because I actually experienced the ray tracing and stuff. Because at first I was like, is this kind of gimmicky or whatever? And then I heard that Control. I've played it before, so I didn't like boot it up to really play. I was just like, well, I've heard that Control is the showcase for ray tracing, so I booted that up, and oh my god, I mean, yes, it hits your frame rate something fierce. I was barely getting 30 frames per second, but so I probably couldn't play that way. So once they get to where they can make it to where it's does it have the performance hit or something, the technology catches up with the technology, that is something special, man. Like holy fuck, me and Amber both were just I've seen, yeah, I was like, oh man, that looks good when we watched a 4K movie or whatnot, or oh, that looks great when I got a newer graphics card. But Blue just started playing Control. so, I just, it just popped up maybe. But anyway, the
you saw it on here.
Yeah, I saw it on GOG that he started playing Control. But but I'd be like, I can see the merit in that, where I'm like, oh man, that looks cool. But the last time that I was like wowed was like when we first saw HD, like in like the late aughts, and like you first got your first.
Blue say he still doesn't see the difference.
I don't know, man. The when we first got, I was wowed then, but ever since then it'd be like, oh man, that looks cool. And then when you go back, you're like, oh man, you kind of see it going backwards more than going forwards. But I was pretty wild. Me and Amber both were like, holy shit, look at the reflections and how the light refracted off of the fucking streaks that the dude is making while mopping. I was like, holy fucking shit. Like, that's some detail. But the streaks of him mopping were there without the ray tracing, but it was just on a whole other level. But yeah, I don't think
it's kind of like the first time you watch a football game in HD and you're just like, look at that fucking grass, man.
Yeah, that kind of shit. So it's been a long time since I felt that way, but I still don't think it's to where it needs to be because it has such a performance hit. I would never play my game that way. But actually, with the Cyberpunk update, Cyberpunk with ray tracing did not have the performance hit that Control did. But I think that Control had better ray tracing than Cyberpunk, so I think that might have been the difference there. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a little bit.
Blue say he guesses his monitor is a 1440p, not 44 hertz, no 4K yet.
That's the same as mine, but I don't know, man. Like, it was mostly, I mean, Blue, you've played the game. Like, right when you first start the game and you meet Ati for the first time and he's mopping, that's the part I'm talking about. It's like you go through those areas and there's a lot of fluorescence going down, and it's just like you look at the lights and it's actually bright to your eyes to where you don't want to look at it. It's bright light. And then it's just how the reflections and stuff is right. That's the future of graphics, I think. But they just got to get it there because it can't be throwing your game into like 20 frames per second. Oh no,
that sounds horrible.
Yeah,
or like you got to have like $1 million fucking PC to actually run it at a decent frame rate.
Right. I mean, I was getting 30 frames per second, but I'm pretty sure that once the fighting start and things start moving, it would drop down.
Kind of
So,
like how I am with the Division on PC. Well, while I'm standing still, everything is great. Moment I start moving, teens.
it's like your dude in Division's just like fucking drunk as fuck. He's like, I'm good as long as I'm not moving. Moment I get
Yeah.
up, I'm like,
I don't want to take a step yet. So I've been playing. So I've just been sticking to playing on Xbox. Would love to play on PC or just to be able to play crossplay. And they said they're never going to do crossplay.
But yeah,
So
I do recommend Life is Strange: True Colors. I was just wanting to point out that things were a little too perfect how they were making it. I think there should have been, even in the perfection, there should have been some people that were a little bit of an asshole to you. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
Everybody
mean,
was too nice.
yeah, people actually accept LARPing.
Yeah.
Blue's talking about your card.
A card.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't get the 68. I got the 67. No, wait a minute. I got the 68.
They have another game releasing. No, that's Heartland. It's not a like full division game, and it's one of those games that you can play on the mobile and shit too. It's a free to play game, and it's kind of like a more like an Escape from Tarkov kind of game. Um, where you have to get in, get your stuff in, and be able to extract out. So they have a mode where you basically learn how to play where you don't have other people, but then the main mode of the game. Um, the main mode of the game, you it's a PvPvE. Kind of a little Dark Zone-ish, but like you have to get
That's
in.
that. Are you talking about the Hunt game?
No, no, no. I did. Blue said there was another Division game coming out, and I said no, that's Heartland, and I'm explaining what Heartland is to the
Oh
people who
well,
don't know.
Hunt is like that. That's why I was like, oh, is he explaining the game I was just talking about? But
Yeah.
I but yeah, I do have the 67 XT. I was looking for the 66. But the only ones that they had in stock were the 65 and the 67, but the 68 and 69 were way too expensive. So I was like, I went with the 67.
Yeah, all this stuff is way too expensive for me. Um, I'm team. I'd rather buy another Xbox than a video card.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd rather buy a Series X than a video card.
Yeah, yeah. What I said in the Discord is true. When he asked me how much I paid for it, I was like, I paid more than I wanted to, but less than I could have.
I'm gonna say you got a good deal on it.
Yeah, for this climate, yes.
Yeah, because this climate is the worst. The video card I was looking into when I first looked into it, and I realized I didn't have the money right then and there. It was the card was like 139. Now it's like 339. The same fucking card. That's now an old card. It's like it tripled in price.
Yeah, well, that stuff happens anyway when they stop not supporting, but they stop making some older stuff on the regular. They'll get more expensive, like with my processor, that I got for Amber. Processors aren't really getting hit with all this. It's just graphics cards, really. So that was still a normal price. But if I got her one like mine, it was more than getting the newer one because they're not as many as of those. They're getting the new 2800X or whatever is more expensive than just going ahead and get like a 5000 series, which is weird. But
Yeah,
supply and
yeah,
demand
it's
and all that
yeah,
economic shit.
yeah, and it's all like I had to deal with this supply and demand shit. I have to listen to people talk about this shit at work all the fucking time because the people that I work the closest with, they both have a lot of animals. And so like between their dogs and cats, like it's like hard as fuck to find dog and cat food right now. So like it's with supply shortages and shit like that, or delivery, like it's been like really fucked up. So like they both have to, like, every time they go in the store they have to look and see if they have dog and cat food, and whether they want to or not they have to buy it, because the next time they go back it's probably not going to be there.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. And then my my coworker's like, "Hey, you want a cat?" I was like, "No, thank you. I don't need another bill. No cats for me." So, so as far as watching stuff, um, I've finished Peacemaker. Peacemaker is really good, and it's a fun show. I really like that show. I'm glad they've already been picked up for season two. Because Peacemaker is really, really good. Did you watch Peacemaker? Oh, you should. You should do that. Remedy that situation as soon as you possibly can. Um, so Peacemaker is good. I've caught up on Queens. I was behind a couple of episodes. I don't know what happened because my Hulu wasn't telling me when I got new episodes. So I had two episodes just sitting there, and I didn't know that I had two episodes just sitting there. So I'm caught up on that. I'm still waiting for my CW shows to come back. Like I think they took a hiatus, so I'm waiting for those to come back. But also, like, there's a thing where I think a lot of people are worried about what's going to happen with the DC TV shows, because um, the CW is for sale.
The CW is for sale?
Yes.
Is Microsoft going to buy them?
Shit, they might as well. But like Microsoft has to deal with Paramount for Halo, so
Yeah.
um, I have not watched. I'm probably not going to watch Halo, unless I got like some old Fire Stick type shit. Or in the same thing with the new Fresh Prince. A lot of people are speaking highly of it. Some people are saying it's a mid, but I'm not gonna know because I'm not paying any more for another fucking service.
Well,
That's just not
I
happening.
just, I mean, even if things are good, even if Fresh Prince is good, I'm just always like, it's still unnecessary. I'm just like, make some new shit, instead of like
Well,
going back to the
it's a
past.
it's a completely different vibe.
Well,
Like
I know it's
it's
a completely different vibe, but it didn't. They could have made a show inspired by Fresh Prince, but it be something different instead of
like All
like
American,
what now?
like All American.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but yeah,
No, the new Fresh Prince and All American seem like very similar shows,
yeah,
except for
because
except
because
for All American's on the CW.
right, but because if they made that same show but didn't say it was this, and then there was no skinny Uncle Phil and all this stuff, people aren't going to feel a way about it because it's not Fresh Prince.
And Carlton does coke in this new show.
Well, I mean, Coke is kind of white people thing, so it checks out.
Oh, I want everybody listening to realize that I did not say that. Chase said that. He's talking about his own people. So yeah, but I'm in. So I'm. So like I just been watching basically the same stuff, and then watching a ton of stuff on YouTube, and that's just been like kind of what's happening. Like in between long, long bouts of playing the division, I just watch a lot of YouTube for the most part. Uh, Mardi Gras is on, so there's a lot of marching band stuff to look at these days. So like out of all of the Mardi Gras parades and the band battles and stuff like that, and for a long time we didn't think we would get any band battles, and we don't have any extended ones. They're usually just like a few rounds and they call it a day. But I'm really enjoying what I'm hearing from the marching bands. I know like COVID kind of ran roughshod through the season, and it's good to see like some of these schools, high schools included, get a little bit of their numbers back so they can add more to their sound. So I'm really kind of enjoying that, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There was something else. I was I keep watching these reaction shows, right? Of people watching stuff for the first time. Um, Instead of me watching the movie over again, I'd rather watch someone else watch it. You know, they
Okay.
kind of skip around. Even though they kind of skip around, but it's easier. Like I just watched someone who watched Deadpool 2 for the first time. I forgot how emotional that fucking movie was. Like it's supposed to be funny, but like there's some moments where you just kind of like, I don't feel like laughing right now. There was some real like emotional moments there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like that was the thing. Um and yeah, I'm just kind of just doing my thing, just kind of watching. And when we were talking about reaction shows, there's this one channel that I look at is a young brother named Ahmad. And Ahmad, I don't know what the I'm trying to find the his actual name, but
Okay.
it's a young brother. Is a young brother named Ahmad, and Ahmad listens to '90s and early 2000s hip hop the first time. This is all of the stuff that he like either he wasn't alive for or he was too young to understand what it was.
Okay.
And I think that's like really fucking cool seeing somebody, and he's like really enjoying himself. That's the one thing that I really like about it. Like he seems to be really enjoying himself. Um, so shout out to Ahmad, man. But yeah, just a lot of YouTube, a shit ton of YouTube. If they had a place where you can see what your YouTube viewership is, mine should be pretty fucking bad.
Yeah. Because some things, like it still holds up. I think for like a young person. I made a playlist in uh my Plex music or whatnot. I just called it Camp Days. Like, because I did go to like a church camp between like for like a week in the summer between sixth grade and the year I graduated high school, and
Mhm.
like there's music through that area that's very nostalgic for me, and mostly a lot of new metal, a lot of like Limp Bizkit, Corn, and then like the like 2000s hip hop and stuff are very much right in that Camp Days stuff. You know what I mean? And I was just listening to it, and there was some like just. I think there might have been like some Nirvana and some Silverchair, and then there was in Together Now by Limp Bizkit, and then my son was like, "I like this rap song," and mostly because it was like Method Man saying "shut the fuck up" through like the whole thing, but like
Yeah,
like I mean, so
and that's another DJ Premier song, right? DJ Premier did the beat.
uh,
I just listened to a podcast where he was on Questlove Supreme, and then I listened to he has a he has a channel, he has a YouTube channel where he explains his process for certain songs. It's actually pretty good because he like tells you what he was thinking at the time, like if he like made a change, something like that. Like he talks about it, like, hey, this is what the original song sounded like, the original beat sounded like. And then kind of going from there. I think it's really cool. So shout out to Premiere.
but yeah, so like I normally put that on because actually now is the only I kind of get like the midlife crisis thing. Like I don't think that because people like make fun of it. Oh, you're getting a sports car or whatever. But I think sometimes it's that I'm now at the point that I can afford a sports car. So that's when I get it. And it's not that I'm like having a midlife crisis. Not me personally, but like having a midlife crisis. I think that that's when someone would actually be in their life to like be well off enough to afford those things. But like and also just listen to old shit, and that's not really something I did because I was always kind of listening to new shit, and so listening to old shit is kind of new to me, but it's been kind of very therapeutic just to like throw on my Camp Days mix and it just be nothing but late 90s and early 2000s shit, you know.
I don't make my own playlists anymore.
Oh yeah?
Because what YouTube Music does is like all you do is you just like find a song that you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
They will automatically make a playlist for you.
Right.
So, but I find myself a lot of times when I'm just in a music listening mood. Sometimes I listen to like modern hip hop, but other times I'm listening to like disco and boogie era music, and this boogie is the right after disco era where it was kind of disco but not quite, like like fucking Billie Jean is kind of a boogie era because it's like on the line of disco, but it doesn't have like the four on the floor and all of that kind of stuff that disco really had. So
Yeah,
like
because there's like the disco, because disco comes from funk. There's the funk that's kind of going towards disco. Then there's disco, and then there's the boogie, right?
yeah, and early Michael Jackson is basically futuristic James Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was that aspect of it too.
Oh, do you
Uh,
know the most sampled song of all time?
it's the Amen Break, right?
Yeah, yeah, you know your shit. And
Um,
actually, I think that's most. I mean, yeah, because of NWA, but like it's like one of the most notable ones. But it's
the Amen Break is responsible for a whole genre of music.
right, which is like drum and bass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of course,
So
you talking to me. You talking to me about music? Like other than fucking country music, I can get into pretty much anything.
yeah, I was having a discussion at one point. We were like, "What's the difference between jungle and drum and bass?" Because it's pretty much the same type of music, and it's basically like it musically it's the same thing, but if jungle really has a kind of a political feeling about it, when drum and bass is just jungle without the political feeling, you know.
But it's like, but the difference is like, drum and bass heavily leans on the amen break, and jungle kind of goes without it and adds a lot of like sound effects and things like that. Like like you get like shit like animal sound effects as a part of the beat.
Uh huh.
but but drum and bass heavily leans on the amen break. Uh, like it's so many songs that have the amen break in it. And I did a show. We did a show um, on Single Serving Podcast, which is now defunct. But we used to do a different type of show every thing, and one of them was was about like samples and where samples came from, and we had to do it. It was an argument. It was an argument podcast where it was like it was not an argument, a debate show podcast, but it's like there was like specific rules for this debate. Like we're using this rule set for this is how long you have for your opening argument. This is how long you have for your rebuttal and things of that nature. And I won that argument with the amen break.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the idea that the '70s is the best place to go to for samples for other types of music, and I was just like, well, the Amen Break is the most sampled song ever, and it was not in the '70s. So
right. The because the one thing that I was thinking about that, because I for sometimes I'll like think about a band or something, then I'll just like kind of like read through their Wikipedia and be like, oh, I haven't really thought about them. But there was a band, most people probably know them because of Mississippi Queen. They're called Mountain.
way down around Vicksburg,
Well, they had a
around Louisiana Bay, lived a Cajun lady called a Mississippi Queen. I've had to sing that song in Rock Band, I don't know, a million times. For some reason I can't quite sing that song the way that it's supposed to be sang. So even when if I play on anything other than medium or normal for Rock Band, I keep getting notes wrong and I don't understand what I'm doing wrong.
but the because well, I got it on it because sampling is because a heavily sampled song is their song Long Red. And that song was sampled like a whole bunch of times. Not as much as Baby and Break, of course, but like it was a lot. But if you listen to, it's like a recording at Woodstock, and if you listen to it, you're like, yeah, that's definitely hip hop.
Yes, I'm looking at this, and it's uh on Who Sampled, right?
Yeah,
Sampled. It says this song was sampled in 799 songs that they know of.
yeah. I mean,
But I mean, like the most sampled artist, of course, is James Brown. But that's because like he has like a lot of songs that have like a ton of samples.
yeah. But people like that's what it called the break, like the break beat, because the song will break down and have this like drumming, like the break. You know what a break is, and then the hip hop will be like, well, let me just have two records and just do this over and over, and that will be our song. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean that's the origin of hip hop.
Yeah.
The idea that they would have two other records and they take that break and they extend it by switching it back and forth and rewinding one part to keep the break going because that was the way of keeping the party going.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about where the rapping came from is like it used to be the DJ would hand a guy a microphone and like tell these people how awesome I am while I do my thing. And then those became those became a song.
Yeah. But they're the master of ceremonies, right? The MC.
Right. So like they like it was really like the DJs were the star of the show until the MCs started actually like rhyming and all of this kind of stuff, and it was just kind of like the original intent was tell these people how awesome I am. And then while you're playing your breaks or whatever like that, it's like, oh, I could say something to this.
Well, I was watching a DJ named Edon, and he actually sometimes DJs and raps at the same time. Like he'll do his thing with one hand and hold the microphone with the other.
I've seen I'm seeing people do that. But also I want to say shout out to Cool Herc, who is the first person that we are aware of that decided to extend the breaks in that way. Shout out to Cool Herc. And but like I've seen someone do that. I've seen Will Smith do it with a he had a little small DJ set with a laptop, and then like he was like kind of scratching and just kind of doing his thing, and then he made a loop. He made a loop and then started actually rapping over the loop that he created.
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith is fucking dope, man. Like, come on, man. Will Smith is fucking dope. I know a lot of people think he's corny, but Will Smith is just fucking dope. And like when he was on Questlove Supreme a few weeks ago, like his outlook on life right now is so much different than a lot of people. But you know what it reminds me of? When Jim Carrey was just saying all of this stuff and like people started thinking that he was cracking the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they both found that place. But like the way that Will Smith's charisma carried him past the point where you would think that he sounds like he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, turns out Jim Carrey was right about a lot of that shit. A lot about it, like how you live your life and what's important and what's not, and like that kind of stuff that he was really discussing at that time was like super important to the world, basically. And like right when he was on top of the world, he kind of like started shying away from like because at one point he was the highest paid actor, right?
Dude, if you look at like a lot of the quintessential Jim Carrey movies, they all released in 1994. It was like that year he like did
Yeah,
like 4 or 5 fucking movies.
yeah. His run was just as long as the Confederacy. You know what I mean? Like they say, so and so has lasted longer than the Confederacy because the Confederacy was like 4 years.
Yeah.
Really? So like his run was just as long as the Confederacy. But like, yeah, he put out that run, and then like he started being in these like big time movies, and at one point he was the highest paid actor. Like think about that. Jim Carrey was the highest paid actor at one point.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like just a comedic dude that used to be in fucking Once Bitten is now the highest paid actor in the game. That was crazy. And like Once Bitten, and then eventually in Living Color and stuff like that, where he played all of those characters. But I think that's in Living Color is how people actually got to see him,
Yeah.
for stuff. Because like In Living Color was huge. Like I don't know how big In Living Color was to you as a white person, but to me, In Living Color was everything. Because like Monday morning at school, that was all we talked about. Happened what happened on what happened there, what happened on In Living Color. Like that shit meant something to us.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, Jim Carrey was one of the very few white people on the show.
Right, right.
And I think he did. Jim Carrey actually said he did a shout out to Keenan Ivory Wayans. And it was just like, yo, when I was nothing, like this guy saw something in me, and I'll never stop telling you how awesome I think that is, because I wouldn't be here if he didn't take a chance on me.
Right, right.
Which is really fucking dope. So yeah, man, I'm really kind of getting into some like I've been getting like super deep into my therapy sessions for the past few weeks. I had a real bad emotional outburst last week, but like my therapy sessions have been like refreshing and like fulfilling. I would say. So like if you don't feel refreshed and fulfilled in your life, try therapy. I think it might be a good thing for you. But like I've been really kind of feeling those feelings like after listening to like Will Smith talk and like going back and listen to some of those things that people like Jim Carrey were saying, and like the idea of trying to figure out what's important to your life and what's not. It's a huge thing. It is a huge thing for you and everyone around you. Like what's important and what's not is it's the most important thing to your life. Just that part. Like once you can figure that out and you have like knowledge of self, like you can pretty much conquer anything, or you don't have to conquer anything at all because you're content with where you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I am right now. I'm happy being where I am. I know I don't have as much money as everybody else. I don't have enough like material things as everyone else. But like, and like my house is an absolute mess. But like I'm happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm like genuinely happy
That's good,
um
man.
for myself and like for the people around me. I mean, my daughter's getting ready to turn 14. She's an honor roll student now. This is like really fucking cool to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I relish those moments, and like when I did the guesting on Game Enthuse, I was talking about how I truly felt about Rob, and I thought Rob was a cool ass dude, and like what I mean, like moving past some of those things that happen in your life where you don't necessarily feel like you handled it the best.
Right, right.
Like that type of thing. But like being able to accept, being able to accept a lot of things is really cool. I really, I, I'm really in a good space, and that's really cool.
Awesome, man.
And it's tax time for you, so you're feeling good right now too.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna get that Xbox at tax time, dog? Or do you just spend it all on that video card?
I plead the fifth.
You spent it all on the video card. All right, so you got anything else for the people?
No, man. I think it's been a good show. It took us a little bit to get started, so I'm not sure if we went over 2 hours or not, but we went damn close at least.
No, here's what I want to say. I think that the shows are getting better because we're having more of a conversation instead of just trying to list the things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why these shows mean more to me because of the side conversations that we're having, not necessarily about the things. And like people don't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I
Like
think that we should do that to where like sometimes in conversation it will come up that I played Control and got ray tracing, and then I'll be like, oh man, well I'll talk about that when we get the games, and then I forget about it, and then it ends up being more canned because it was actually a conversation piece before, but we shut it down because it wasn't in the schedule of
right,
things.
exactly. Yeah, and I forget a lot of stuff. I used to forget a lot of stuff sometimes. Um,
Dude,
But now that I don't do a whole lot outside of the normal things that I typically do during the week, I've gotten a lot better about that. Like, but once I start branching out to new things and stuff like that, that might be a thing. But I think, like I've always said, like the podcast that I like, the podcast that I enjoy the most, are like it's a conversation between friends, even if it's in like a more of an interview type format.
mm-hmm.
It's just a bunch of people sitting around having a conversation. And they may be learning about someone or anything, but like the conversation is what matters more to me than making sure that we hit these points. And that's the reason why I don't dig a whole bunch of shows that just do like news.
Yeah.
I don't, like I don't, and I mean, I don't listen to very many podcasts these days anyway, because my commute is 8 minutes. You know what I mean? My commute is 8 minutes. So like, and I don't really listen to a podcast at home very often because I'm usually on YouTube, and I don't listen to podcasts at work because I'm usually watching YouTube. Um,
Well, one thing that you were talking about, like memory and stuff, that I actually was going to want to bring up on the podcast, because I was talking to Jared about this, because we went down to the computer store together, and I was talking. One thing I prided myself on in the past was my memory. That like people would be like, I would come up with like something, and be like, oh yeah, remember when we did so and so and so and so, and we were watching this, and Alex was over, and he threw up or something. And they were like, how do you remember that shit? And like I would just like remember shit, and like and it made me happy because I could have these things. And now I don't remember shit. Like I'd be like, what the. And there's something come up. It's still there, and then something come up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen this movie. What the fuck?
right?
Like I almost want to like get like hypnotized or something and bring shit out, even if it brings some negative shit out, because I want to remember shit again. Because it sucks just to go day to day, and you're like, well, when did I do this? Oh, that was last Thursday. I thought that was Monday. You know, I fucking hate it, man, because
Right.
it's doesn't feel like me.
Yeah, it's weird sometimes, but it's just getting older. You gotta, you gotta write some things down.
Yeah.
I want to share something with you
Okay.
because I'm on whosampled.com because we talked about the other song.
Okay.
And Amen Brother by the Winstons
Yeah.
has been sampled, according to what's been tracked on Who Sampled,
Okay.
5,497 times.
That's a big playlist of a lot of the same beat.
But Think About It by Lynn Collins, which is really a part of James Brown's Funky People,
Mm-hmm.
been sampled 3,079 times. On this list, it has the top 10, and one, two, three, four of them are very much James Brown or James Brown influenced.
I can see that.
And that's the top 10 of all time.
Well, they say James Brown's the godfather of soul, but like, I think he is also the godfather of hip hop.
Yes, James Brown is the godfather of hip hop because, like, there's so many of his songs, especially the drum breaks and stuff like that, that have been turned into songs. James Brown, as in most sampled artists, is James Brown got it hands down. But it's like different songs that James Brown have been that's been sampled from James Brown. James Brown has been sampled according to WhoSampled.com
Uh huh.
8,363 times. Just a James Brown song in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
And just to put that in perspective, the Winstons is in the 5,000 range.
Yeah.
Technically, the Lynn Collins thing, because of Think, should be attributed to James Brown because the song Think was on James Brown's Funky People. So that should be attributed to James Brown, and that should be another 3,000 of those. This puts it in perspective. Michael Jackson, who we talked about being one of the most amazing artists of all time, and I don't think that he did anything with those kids, got sampled 1,925 times. Not even close to James Brown. Not even close.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of that especially like off the wall era, Michael Jackson ended up as vaporwave. It's a lot of that stuff is a lot of Michael Jackson shit slowed down.
Yeah, I think yes, it's looking like it's a mixture of like the most popular Michael Jackson samples. It's Billie Jean, Human Nature, Lady in My Life, and then Want to Be Starting Something, and then like Beat It, Thriller. So like a lot of the Thriller stuff is at the top of this.
Mm.
A lot of the Thriller stuff is at the top of this. So it's not really the off the wall. The like Rock With You and Can't Help It are down at the bottom of this first page, but 57 pages. Songs that have been sampled. So you know what I was thinking. I was talking to someone. I was talking to my friend Todd that I play Division with, and we were talking about samples. He's a Nas fan, and I'm not. But I forgot that from Illmatic, It Ain't Hard to Tell a is a Michael Jackson sample. I didn't realize that it was a Human Nature sample.
Hmm.
It's like right there, like you're paying attention to Nas's words. Nas is the person that you listen to for the words and not necessarily for the beats.
Right.
So like it's been right there this whole time, and I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Also, make him say Apache sample. And you want to know something crazy? Here's the craziest thing, and I learned this from Jermaine Dupri, because Jermaine Dupri was behind Crisscross.
Mm-hmm.
And Jump from Crisscross. It's just 3 notes from I Want You Back. Like I want you back to dun 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 dun, like that. Jackson 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the dun 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 dun, those dun 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 dun. It's Jump, Crisscross and make it. It's just those 3 notes. It's just those 3 notes. He took those 3 notes and stretched that bitch out into a whole fucking song. So that's cool. I love talking about samples. That's my thing.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it a lot on a game night, and because I brought up the Avalanches, and like we were like looking at like holy shit, there's like so many samples in this one song, because they're like what you would consider samplephilia, where it's like really like heavily sampled, like we're just gonna throw everything in this and make this like Frankenstein of a song, and it ends up being this fantastic thing, and that's what they do. It's not
That's
just
that used to be Girl Talk. What the fuck happened to Girl Talk?
yeah. I think he still does. I don't know.
I still love All Day. Still love All Day.
Uh,
That one, and they used to have this website, right? And it was a visualizer of all of the samples for like when they kick in and stuff like that. And
yeah.
so like you're listening to the song and you're watching what came from which song, and it was just fucking amazing just kind of watching all of that.
Right. Right.
Should totally listen to All Day sometime soon.
Mm.
I think I'm going to do that. Well, this has been another episode of Scarcasm. We really appreciate you. Like we've been around for another year. It's been another year on the 17th. We very much appreciate you. You know what? I'm going to stop pointing people in the direction of the website because it might be time to just start doing away with the website. I still ain't actually paid for the domain for this year. Because I'm just kind of like I don't really want to keep paying for this. Um, I think I'm going to at least for another year while I figure something else out. Um, so
Because most people aren't using forums and everything. Everything's Discord, and
yeah,
and we can't be mad about our Discord. Yeah, it's not popping all the time, but when it does, it is. People are there, and
yeah, is always somebody around.
yeah,
So that's why I fuck with Discord like that. So go to the Discord and that's where we can chat and be friends and you know digital hugs.
yeah.
I love hugs.
The link to the
Just come-
Discord is the invite
link
link's still in the show notes, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So do that, and if it's not if something is up with it, you let us know. Our Twitter and everything else is on there, so hit us up. But like Discord is where we pretty much reside at this point.
Uh huh.
Um, even though I pretty much personally on a personal level I live on Facebook, but Discord we're about that life, and I'm on Discord quite often between the two main chats, and then I go lurking sometimes, but I don't really say anything because I'm in like 20 fucking Discord um, groups or whatever.
Yeah.
So do that, and. Yeah, I think we'll be back in your ear holes in another 2 weeks. We appreciate everyone for listening. Shout out to Mike J. Mike J hit me up after the last episode. He loved my Boondock Saints rant.
Yeah. Because fuck that movie.
Yeah, because fuck that movie forever. Um, so like so we talked for quite a bit, and you did not, you still ain't watch Cobra Kai yet.
Right. Yeah. I haven't.
His girl bought him Eagle Fang shirt, and I think that's fucking dope.
Nice.
Yeah, his girl bought him an Eagle Fang shirt. So shout out to Mike J, and shout out to our newest patron, Jimmy Beans.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jimmy Beans. We really appreciate y'all, and like if it wasn't for y'all, like this would be. And shout out to my man Ron Block. Um, again, just for being Ron Block, man. For being Ron Block. Ron Block will share the fucking show every time he listens. And like he tags us in it, and I always make sure that I show him some love because he doesn't have to do that. And it used to be that we used to travel everywhere around Maryland and DC with him, whenever he was listening to the show, but because he used to have his location on. But shout out to fucking Ron Block. Shout out to Cam. Um, all are slash were the patrons.
Mm-hmm.
You should be a patron. I think there's some things that I want to do. I'm waiting for. I was really trying to wait for the pandemic to like calm the fuck down a little bit before I really tried to get back into it. But I really think that I want to do some things for the patrons. I really want to do some things for the patrons because like we don't have a whole lot, but like I appreciate the ones that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh, there was one other thing. Well, remind
Good.
me of something that next week that that you wanted to talk about. I'll just do it next week, but 'cause it
What
might
what
be a
what
discussion.
what are we talking about?
It was about hacking a Vita, but so
Hacking a Vita.
yeah,
You trying to do like some homebrew shit?
yeah. But I've already done it, but so I've completed that. So
All right, so we'll do that. I'm supposed to remind you.
well, if I don't think of it, because I definitely did want to talk about that because that was kind of a fun experience. It's scary at
You,
first, but it's pretty fun.
you, you know what we should do?
What's that?
We should pick a day, just a random day. I'm not playing the division all night. We should just pop in, record a little show about just that, and we should leave it on Patreon for a while before we actually put it onto the feed.
That sounds good.
Like we should do that. So you just let me know when you can do it, and we'll slide in and we do some things. I mean, I still record Return to Oswald 2 times a week, so that's a bit of a stretch, but we got this. Just let me know. We can do that. We can do that for the patrons. All three of y'all. Ron Block, come back around, cause I I I want you to be able to get into some of this goodness too.
Yeah, man.
And even if you at the low level, like even if you're at the $2 level, just come back around because we're gonna try to get some stuff focused, and we're gonna try to like get your opinion about some things, and like what we could do to enhance the show and make this better for you, and whether you want us to do more videos and things of that nature. I'm really shitty with editing, but I can turn on the microphone or camera and just start fucking talking. I could do that shit easy. I mean, I can do a 45 minutes to an hour show just by myself.
That's why
And
I
that's
actually like to anchor for Crucial Core because like the intro and outro stuff is already recorded. I just be like, hey, this is Crucial Core or whatever in season 2. That stuff is the same every week, and I just put the raw audio between that in Anchor, and it just does it for me. And I'm like, hell yeah.
I think I'm gonna do that for the little podcast that I wanted to do, because I wanted to do stuff where I just talk about just random stuff that shit that's just on my mind. Like the situation with Jawan Howard at Michigan. This is not necessarily a conversation that I would have with you.
Right, right.
You know, like things of that nature that came up today. That's like a big topic today. Shit like that. Like I thought about just doing something like that where I could just pop in, say a little something, move the fuck on.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you. Peace out to the Warriors. We appreciate y'all again for the millionth time. We appreciate y'all, and we'll be back in your ear holes in 2 weeks. Unless you're a patron, we're gonna try to get something in about a week or so. We're gonna talk about home brewing Vita. Peace out to the Warriors, yo.
Yeah. Later.